broadcast that going to talk today about I'm winning too. This is going to be a fun story. And so thank you so much for being a part of this. Some of you are going to be on our live broadcast on YouTube and Facebook. I'll look forward to interacting with you on the chat. Others of you are watching the recording of this on our YouTube platform. And by the way, if you're new to our Igniting Hope Ministries content, you can go to ignitinghope.com and find out more about us and who we are, and this message of mind renewal, this message of hope, this message of joy. And we are here to ignite your hope. There's no hopeless circumstances. There's just people who do not have hope. And once people get true hope, circumstances cannot stay the same. Hope is an unstoppable force. If something's going to change, somebody has hope. Somebody believes that the future will be better than the present, and they have the power to help make it so. Wow. Yes, good to see people on here. Shauna, welcome. Sarah, Rob, good to have you on here. Michael, and what's so good, Rob's going to be graduating from third year Bethel School of Supernatural Ministry. Served me so well this year. And yeah, it's a great day. And this is just going to be a fun one. And I'll repeat the story a couple times for those who come on the broadcast live after we've started. But my grandson, Caden, who's now 16, probably when he was about 3, we were here in a park in Redding, and it was time to go. It was getting dark. It was one of those parks that they lock the gate at dusk. And so we needed to go. And so Caden's parents, his sister, and my wife, Wendy, were up by the cars. And I was back kind of with Caden. He was slow. And so I know I needed to motivate him. So I told my grandson, Caden, let's race. And there was no movement. He didn't move at all. So I knew I needed to move the motivation level up higher. And so I said these words to Caden, I'm winning too. And without moving at all, Caden said, no, I got ahead of myself. I said, Caden, I'm winning. And then Caden said, without moving at all, he said, I'm winning too. I thought, wow, this guy's in last place and he thinks he's a winner. And he's a winner because Caden was in the same race that I was in. He wasn't in the same race as Grandpa was in. He was in the race that 3-year-olds do of looking at birds, looking at rocks, looking at leaves. And he was winning. And the point that I'm going to make today is that some of us feel like we're losers because we don't know what race we're in. Oh, my. Yes. Before I continue, hey, Paul, good morning. Good to see you. Gretchen, welcome. Angela, glad you're on here. And just even as we talk about success is not a goal to be obtained. It's a state of being. Success is not a goal to be obtained. It's a state of being. We can look in the Old Testament, and the life of Joseph is held up to us as an example of someone who was successful regardless of what his circumstances were. He was successful as a slave. He was successful in prison. He was successful in Potiphar's house. He was successful as the second in command in Egypt. And so one of the ways that God grows great leaders, and by the way, you're a great leader. You may not believe that yet, but you're a great leader. You may not be in the experience of that yet, but that's who you are. Because we don't get our identity out of what we've done. We get our identity out of what we're created to do. And so the Lord, one of his main processes of making us into great leaders is causing and helping through his grace and his wisdom to make us successful on the inside when we don't look successful on the outside. Let me say that again. The process of becoming great as a great leader is to get successful on the inside of ourselves when we don't look successful on the outside. So my 3-year-old grandson, Caden, I'm trying to get him to move, and I say, I'm winning. He doesn't try to motivate him, so he'll speed up, but he doesn't move at all. And he says, I'm winning too. I'm winning too. Why don't you just say out loud right now, I'm winning too? Why don't you put in the chat, I'm winning too? Ruth, glad you're on here. Christine, good morning to you. And it's, by the way, if we believe we're winning too. We are winning. Now, again, Caden was winning, my 3-year-old grandson, because he was not in the same race as his grandpa. He wasn't in the same race. I thought he should be in the race of getting quickly into the car so we could leave, but no, he was in another race. And so this thought, many believe they're losers because they don't know what race they're in. And one of the ways, one of the names for the devil is he's called the accuser of the brethren. He's called the accuser of the brethren. And one of the ways that, obviously he's accusing us before God. Thank God we have a great defense attorney named Jesus. But he also accuses us to ourselves through lies. He is the father of all lies. That's his main weapon. He's empowered by believing lies. And so one of the ways that he accuses us and lies to us is through negative comparison. Negative comparison, trying to tell us that we are losers. Let's laugh at that we're losers. And some of the common examples is he's telling us we're a loser because of our appearance, our physical appearance, and our looks. We're compared to airbrush models. We're compared to people's best social media posts. We're compared to advertisements that we see in magazines and TV shows of people. And so we're sent the message that because of our appearance, we're losers. Let's just laugh at that. Or maybe the amount of money or possessions that we have. We're told by a voice through thoughts, we're losers because we do not have certain possessions, or we don't have a certain amount of money. Or maybe it's through our perceived intelligence or our academic level that we've attained, and because we're not as, just haven't gone to school as much as others, or don't have as many degrees, then we feel less than, and we believe we're losers because of that. Or maybe just our general intelligence, or our ability to write or communicate, or maybe it's our physical health, or the family dynamics that we have, and we compare our family dynamics to other families, and and we hear the words, "You are a loser." You're a loser. Or maybe it's a ministry that what your you might be leading a ministry right now. And as you compare that to other ministries, it feels like you're a loser because of a perceived lack of influence, or not as many people, or whatever. And the list could go on. Maybe those of you who are watching live, uh, why don't you put in the chat other areas where we use negative comparison, where we're tempted to use negative comparison to define us as whether we're a winner or a loser. And so it's this thing about, okay, what race am I in? Am I in the race to be the most beautiful and handsome? Am I in the race of having the most money, or the best possessions? Am I in the race of achievements? Yep, spiritual gifts is another one, Shauna, that's really good, where we are compared to, those maybe evangelists, or those with healing ministries, or those with um, et cetera. And so we're we're tempted to believe we're not as spiritual, and we're losing. Yeah, how much money we make. That's such a good one. And I'm not as wealthy as, so I'm not as anointed as. All of these are, I mean, they're shame bringers. They are, and if we're not careful, then we feel less than, and we feel like a loser. Now, so I guess the question then is to be able to identify what race we're actually in. Because if we can identify what race we're actually in, that's going to give clarity to us. And then we're going to be able to say, and believe and say that I'm winning. And so as we look at that, and I'll just give you a couple principles here to help identify what is the race that we're in. One of the principles is that what's happening in us is more important than what's happening through us. What's happening in me is more important than what's happening through me. Or another principle is that my response to something is almost more important than the something. My response to something is almost always more important than the something. And so what's going on inside me? I said it earlier, and we're talking today about my grandson, Caden, who is about 3, who I tried to motivate him to move faster so we could leave a park and say, Caden, I'm winning, without moving at all. Caden said, I'm winning too. And, and I thought, wow, he's in last place in this race, but he thinks he's a winner. When I grow up, I want to be like him. So as we think about that, then what is the race? And then, or another way I can put this is, what season are we in? What season are we in? The sons of Issachar in 1 Chronicles 12:32 says, understood the times and knew what Israel should do. They understood what the season was about. And even as you're watching and listening right now, I just see that the Lord is releasing over you revelation of what your season is about. And Often it's connected off, and I don't know if this is going to be good news to you, but often it's connected to what we're frustrated about. What are we frustrated about? And I think about Hannah in First Samuel chapter 1, where Hannah is frustrated, and uh, her husband Elkanah has another wife named Peninnah, and Peninnah is having all these children, and Hannah's frustrated. She's loved, but she feels like she's a loser because she doesn't have children. And but she got breakthrough on the inside when she found out what God's need was and gave herself to that need for a prophet, and Samuel was born. But this is a real key for us. Is okay, and this isn't for everybody here because there's other seasons, but this is for somebody that who's watching, that your season is connected to what you're frustrated about. And as you can see what God's doing in you connected to that frustration, what he's developing in you, and giving yourself to what the Lord's need is connected to that frustration, there's going to be great purpose for the season. Because what's happening in you is more important than what's happening through you. So, yeah, what is your season? And Shannon, you put in there, it's a healing season. That's so powerful to be able to identify, okay, I'm in a healing season. This isn't a season for a great advancement or whatever in particular areas. If some of the rest of you want to put in the chat what you believe your season is about, then I believe that's going to help break off negative comparison with others who seemingly are advancing far ahead of you. By the way, we all have that in areas. It's going to bring peace and bring clarity and get you even more successful on the inside. And Sarah being a mom, that's so powerful, attaching faith to that. Gretchen, my season is about increasing my hope and restoration. Lauren, oh, great to have you on here, Lauren, by the way. It's a breakthrough season. Wendy, you're in a season of rest and healing. These are so powerful, because then if we can attach faith to that. Jackie, you say you're in a season, you believe it, of dealing with cracks in the foundation. Cindy, a season of breakthrough and old lies. Rob, you're in a building season. I shared recently, and I do a weekly podcast and weekly blog. One of the topics or podcast blog I recently did, it was titled, "It's Not Time for That Yet." It's not time for that yet. And I talked about the fact that we live here in Redding, California, my wife Wendy and I, and we have 5 acres, and we got this property 10, 11 years ago. And in many ways, it was a fixer-upper and needed a lot of improvements. And so we've really done a lot of improvements inside the house and maintained the front yard pretty well and backyard some. But there's things in my property as I walk by them, as I look at them, that I don't like. They're non-excellent. They're non-excellent. And one of the things, and they want to speak to me and tell me that I'm a failure. And one of the things that the Lord has told me, says, Steve, I want you to be able to look at things that still need to get better, but you need to realize it's not time for that yet. And you need to be able to look at that and not allow that to drain you, because you know that you're properly focusing on some other things. And so just even as my yard is an example in life, there's areas that are non-excellent. And we know that the Lord's ultimate plan is for breakthrough in those areas, but it's not time for that yet. And even though you feel like you're losing, so to speak, in that area, then you're not. You're not a loser. I hope that makes sense. And Adele, welcome, Ruth. You're in a season to be fully in the moment, not in the future or past. Wow, Judy Mason has been a great help. Well, Judy is such a blessing. Um, yeah, Tamara, you're in a season of waiting. Uh, Paul, a season of rest and trust. A season of learning. And these are so important. Okay, what are you doing in me? And I'm not saying that, we let areas that where there's our dysfunction is creating real pain for other people, that we just ignore those areas. But for most of us, there's just as we bring clarity to what we're to do, what we're to not do, and then realize, okay, I'm winning because I'm addressing the situations. I'm focusing in on what I need to focus in on in this season. And I'm not going to allow negative comparison to rob me of the belief that I am successful and that I am victorious. Wow. This has been such a fun message today, and I'm winning too. I want you to say out loud again, I'm winning too. One example that I use is some of you know Leif Hetland, just a great minister of love and reacher of people. And he's got a great ministry to reach Muslim people. And I was talking to him recently, or a year or so ago, and he was talking about his courage and his ability to reach that part of the world in Pakistan and other places. And I'm listening to him, um, and I was thinking, wow, am I even saved? Because what he was doing was so amazing. And the negative comparison of somebody else's testimony, uh, because of my own maybe issues in my own heart, um, caused me to believe I was a loser momentarily. Didn't stay there very long at all. But that thing came on me. You guys know what that thing is. And I was talking to the Lord about it. He says, I haven't called you to be Leif Hetland. I've called you to be Steve Backlund. And you celebrate what's going on in Leif's life. You celebrate that. But don't allow what somebody else is doing to be an indictment against you and who you are. Because I've called you to do something very different than him, and I want you to be you. I haven't called you to go to Pakistan. I haven't called you to do that. Yes, again, be inspired, but don't allow the successes of other people to be a statement against you. My, oh my. Susan, you say you're in a season of breaking off lies and truth rises to higher in your spirit. Love that. Yep. I'm going to begin to wrap this up, everybody. And what a joy for you to be here. I believe this is a teaching that some of you are going to refer to others on, because it's a freedom bringer. It's a freedom bringer. It helps us to be able to look at areas in our lives where we're tempted to have shame about, where we're tempted to feel disqualified because of, where we're tempted to believe we're at a disadvantage because of. This message helps break that thing off and helps us to attach faith to who we are, attach faith to the season that we're in. And it's a breakthrough message. Hey, by the way, if you like this message, a couple devotionals that I've written that I believe would really be helpful to you to go deeper. One is Igniting Hope in 40 Days. The other is Igniting Joy in 40 Days. Those you can find on Amazon or you can find through our website, ignitinghope.com. Those devotionals are going to just add to this teaching today. And we need an input every day. Every day, I need an input of beliefs, of hope, of breaking off lies. And we're committed here at Igniting Hope to do that through our books, through our online courses at ignitinghopeacademy.com, through these YouTube broadcasts that we do, through our Igniting Hope Instagram, and just through our travel that we're going to have. By the way, speaking of travel, I'm going to be in Concord, California this weekend. My wife, Wendy's going to be in Ontario, Canada this weekend as well, about an hour and a half from Toronto. You can go to our website at ignitinghope.com and find the exact locations. I will be in the Buffalo, New York area in the middle of the month. I will be in Las Cruces, New Mexico at the beginning of June, going to be in the Netherlands also in June. And so there's a lot of opportunities if you are able to come to some of those. If you live in that area, come. Some of you may want to travel to a location that we are so you can just get this massive breakthrough. So, yes. All right, everybody. I am so blessed to have spent some time with you. Shannon, you got it in there. Muskota, Skoka, Ontario. Yep, Wendy's going to be there this weekend. What a joy. I pray blessing over you. And I just speak just life, breakthrough. Here's a couple prophetic words that I'm hearing as I close today. More than a couple. There's some things stirring in me. I'm hearing that 1 Timothy 4:14, where Paul writes to Timothy to stir up the gift that is in you through prophecy and the laying on of the hands of the eldership. There's a great release in your life of prophecy, of receiving prophecy and laying on of hands. That's incredible. And I'm also hearing that in businesses, that there's business owners or people involved in business that are going to get an idea of a whole brand new kind of arm of your business, and it's going to overtake the rest of your business in profits. And it's going to be really, that's what your business is going to be known by in the future. I'm hearing that someone who's in a difficult marriage, that there is grace being released on you right now for peace and for a strategy like never before of what the Lord is going to have you do. And there's confidence in you, in the plan. And you're going to be able to do like what Abraham did in Romans 4, where he says he considered not the deadness of his own body and the deadness of Sarah's womb. There's a grace for you not to consider what you're seeing, and for you to go to a higher place of love, of beliefs, of enjoying life as well, which is going to be a key to the breakthrough that you're believing for. There's people within the sound of my voice who there's really uncertainty about your future and about what some big decisions that you need to make and some big doors that you're believing for that are going to open, and yet you don't know when or maybe which ones. And I see the Lord in this waiting season is causing you to really press in and causing you to get a greater peace in your life. And I hear over you Philippians 4, 6, and 7, where it says, "Do not worry about anything, but in everything, by prayer and supplication with thanksgiving, let your requests be made known to God, and the peace of God, which passes all understanding, will guard your hearts and your minds in Christ Jesus." And I'm hearing that there's a peace victory that the Lord is bringing within your life. And even though you don't always feel that peace, you're getting more victory than you know. And that peace is going to be an anchor point in your future because you're developing your peace muscle, which is going to be one of the main things that's going to just anchor you and steady you in the days ahead. In the days ahead. And just a couple more things. I see the Lord putting a pen in your hand, so to speak, and whether you actually are using the pen or you're writing on your computer or whatever. But I see a journaling breakthrough for you and a journaling breakthrough of your processes with God and your processes with uh, yourself. And that is going to actually come it's going to create a book. You're actually going to create a book without even really trying because your journaling thing is going to go to such a high level, and the truths and the revelations and your authenticity in your writing is going to create a great breakthrough. And also I see blogs, new blogs coming out of you, and I see partnerships with people. Jesus sent them out two by two. There's partnerships of working with another person on a purpose that is going to be accelerated in this season. Whoo! My, oh my. I am an author. Sean, I needed to say I was an author before I ever wrote books. Yep. Yep. This is so fun. This is so fun. And I just see the prophetic ministry growing in you like never before. And there's somebody within the sound of my voice who's just going to start a daily prophetic word, or you're already doing it, and it's going to be multiplied where you're going to just put it out there, and it's going to connect with people that are really going to surprise you. Give them something to work with. All right, everybody. I bless you. And I thank you for watching this YouTube broadcast. I'm winning too. If you jumped on late live, you may want to go to the beginning and just get the whole story of where this is coming from.